Hello and welcome to my quick update for FujiNet. FujiNet Online has all the information about FujiNet. It's got a page on where you can purchase a FujiNet. It has a page for downloading released firmwares to update your FujiNet. It has a page for support, so check out that. But today we're going to be looking at a setup that I did previously. I showed you how to take Windows 10, get everything set up, download the firmware to build your own custom firmware. There's been some updates for the Apple2, namely some updates in the config app for Apple2 because it now supports not only SmartPort devices but also plain old Apple2 disk to disk drives. So you're going to see that at the end. So you should already have everything set up. This is the Visual Studio Code. It's got the Alien installed, the PIO. This is the platform that we're building, and we're going to go through, just grab the latest code and update both the firmware and the file system image. There's two types of updates that you can do for your FujiNet device. The firmware is something that you build when there's new releases that changes the functionality. But the file system image is when there's new updates to like the web page, or in this instance, the config app, and it's kind of stuff that doesn't change that often, but every once in a while you need to update it. So I'm going to show you how to update it, or we're going to watch. Just click on the buttons and let it do its thing. So here you are inside Visual Studio. Open up the device and click on the upload file system image. Now it's going to go and do a little bit of platform I/O updating and checking it out. And there's a couple times in this video I'm going to forward things faster than real time because this is on a slower machine that takes a while to update. But uploading is usually not really builds, just checking to see if all the files are in place, gathering them all up, putting them into this new image, and then uploading that image onto the FujiNet device yourself, as you'll see in a moment. Using platform I/O, unless you have a very fast machine, you'll know it needs to take its time. It needs to check its whole environment, no matter what kind of task you're doing. Take a look and see what has changed on the local file system. The nice thing is it'll figure out anything that's changed and what needs to get built. The bad thing is sometimes that can take longer than you think. So here it is, gathering all of these static content and files for the file system image, and it's got them already, and it's uploading them now onto the FujiNet device. You can see that. And once that's done, the image will be there, ready to go. You're not going to notice it till you reboot your actual FujiNet device itself, so that it can use those, and then it's done. Now, I know that there are some last-minute updates and changes for the Apple2 device inside of the Git repo, so I'm also going to show you how we want to go out and grab the latest version and update that. So you can do this within Visual Studio. I like to use command line, a terminal to manage it. So basically, if you bring up the Windows terminal, like in my previous video, I've showed you already how we pulled down and did a clone of the repo, and it's right there. FujiNet Platform I/O is the main firmware repository for it, and I am just going to pull down all the latest changes. And you can see there's a few changes there. 6 updates that happened over the past couple days, but there's some for IWM. That is the Apple2. IEC is for the Commodore 64. The devices are usually named by the protocols or the chips that they're running on. Atari's SIO. Apple2 is IWM for Integrated WAS Machine, and Commodore at this point is IEC for the IEC interface. So now back inside of Visual Studio, I'm just going to check out my platform INI file, make sure I've got the right target. I do. I'm going to build for the Apple device, make sure nothing else is checked, and the devices look good. So that's fine. I'm just going to bring up the window so we've got some more space here. and go back over to the Alien, and now hit the upload and monitor key. This is where I'll fast forward a little bit because it takes a while, and again it's going to do the same kind of thing as it was doing before. It's going to have to scan itself, take a look at all the files, figure out what's changed, what's updated, then it's going to go through and rebuild those pieces that it needs for the Fuji Apple, and then go and create an image. So you can see by the little spinner on the right hand side there that this is not real time. I've sped it up on this machine. It's a little pokey. It's writing to the FujiNet device itself, basically flashing the firmware and resetting it, and we're ready to go. So let's take a look at the Apple. So here I have the Apple, turned it on and capturing it with RetroTink, and in here into OBS. So this needs a PR number 5 to actually boot. Oh, there was the new FujiNet logo sequence, and the config app has loaded. So it did time out on this network, and I had to just go look at another network of mine. I'm not sure why. But you can see the config screen for the FujiNet on Apple wants you to first pick a wireless network that it can connect to, because the FujiNet cannot do anything without Wi-Fi. So those are my local networks, and now I'm in, and you can see the typical config host list, and now there's below it 2 different smart port drive area with 4 drives and 2 new drives for disk 2. Now unfortunately I don't have any disk 2 drives, so I'm not going to be able to show any of those. I actually have them around, but haven't hooked it up on the Apple. I will get to that soon, however. I'm going to add a new host list for my own host in here, and you can see, at least on the Apple II, I have Apple2E. It's a little funky. When you type in lowercase, it goes crazy there, but the FujiNet will figure that out, boom, and then you see it's put it back into uppercase. So you don't have to manage doing things in the case so much in the config app. I'm looking now at a remote TNF server on Arata. Tom's inside of his Apple II repository and internet. He's got the ISS program, International Space Station, which is a great thing to demo. So I've mounted it on the first smart port drive, as you can see there, and basically we're going to reboot and pull down that app and take a look at it. You can see hitting tab key lets you jump around between the different apps. Hitting the C key brings you the config screen of config. It shows you all the network information. Back on the main screen, once you have all the proper disks mounted, you just hit escape. Back on my Apple IIe, I again have to do the PR5 because it won't auto boot with the Kabook smart port card in there. But after that, you can see that it's pulling down on the right hand side the disk blocks from the remote server. It's loading in the ISS application from the TNFS server, and it's going to boot in a moment. And there it comes up. And so there you go. There's the new config. It works fine. This is actually the enhanced updated version of the ISS, thanks to Oliver on the Discord. He has updated it and fixed some small little color issues, certainly around the color of the ISS. Here is a quick shot of the FujiNet going out and retrieving the latest latitude and longitude information from the internet. That's what the ISS app does. It runs, it pulls the latest latitude, longitude real time from the internet and updates that little icon. You can see it moving over now to its new position. So this shows you accurately where in the world the International Space Station is at any given time. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to post some more, especially about how to set up Windows and Linux servers. As always, there's more information at my sites, 6502.fun, AtariOrbit.org, and the FujiNet online site itself. Thanks a lot.